just getting sorted, so if you're not watching live, feel free to skip ahead. Looks like we're doing standard qualifying again because we don't have enough people today, which is unfortunate, but it do be like that. It do be. Where is Avi84? It's a good question. We're going underway. We've got 13 drivers today. A couple will be joining late, I do know of that. I've got to post this in the Discord. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. And all is well. Let me get... commentator stream, there it is. Hello, Dixie. Bit of a small grid today. I would say it's probably partly to do with what's the word? Good Friday. That's what I was trying to say. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, it looks like we're getting underway for short qualifying. We've got 13 people at the moment. I'm sure there'll be a couple of others, at least one more I know of. But yeah, probably to do with Good Friday, the fact that we don't have as many, and we don't have Avi today either, which is which sucks, to be honest. Did I say it was one word? Oops. But anyway, we are here at Silverstone, a track that I will be going to later this year. To watch the Grand Prix, which I'm very much looking forward to. Brilliant track for racing. Although you do tend to get a lot of DRS trains around here, or just trains in general, because this track does promote sort of a lot of position swapping, as it were. So expect to see a lot of that in the race. But some good racing as well, and it'll be interesting to see the strategies as well today. You can see Speed Alcoholic is out on the mediums, and we've got Moti Peretz on the softs, Tier on the mediums as well, so we'll see if they stay on the mediums come the end of the session. But yeah, it's looking like pretty standard stuff so far. Mediums are going to be not actually that much slower than the softs around this track. This track is very, very nice on tyre wear. There you go, there's Nath Clark, so we've got 14 now. Yeah, this track is very generous with tyre wear. So the medium soft strategy is not as powerful as it is on other tracks, so I would be surprised to see people go on the mediums and stay on the mediums in this qualifying session today. But we'll have to see. It's a shame that H. Geno can't make it today, because he is 45th in the world at Silverstone. That is with ABS and the racing line, to be fair, but even so, he's not going to be too far off that pace in ESRL, and I'm sure he would be challenging at the front. Hello Lifebout, welcome to the chat. We're back to normal qualifying session. This was meant to be a sprint race, the first sort of sprint qualifying in ESRL, but unfortunately not enough drivers to make it happen, so we've switched back to the standard format as Speed Alcoholic goes very deep into turn 1. We're right on board with him as he goes through the lap, so into turn number 4 here and out towards the DRS straight. I'm so sorry that I don't know the corner names around this track. It seems like everyone knows all of the corner names around this track if they're British, except me. But anyway, that was pretty conservative there from Speed Alcoholic. Could have been a little bit faster. I think braked a tad early. It's just a banker lap and he is on mediums, so we'll have to see if he stays on them. He's round to Cops now. See you, Dixie. And hello, Rick, in the chat. Yeah, thanks for popping along, Dixie. Speed comes through Beckett's now. That was very deep, and deep there as well, so he won't be happy with that. A lot of time to be gained there for Speed Alcoholic. Eat Apple has retired from the session already. He's hit the wall, it looks like, on the exit of turn 2. I wonder if we can see from Moti Peretz's view where the Haas is. No, it's just despawned, unfortunately, so we won't get to see. But Moti Peretz sets the fastest time for now on the softs at 29.4. I think Speed will comfortably beat that, and he does. 27.8 on the medium tyres is the initial pace. Is Aces versus Kings going to be anywhere near that? Here he comes up to the line now. He is going to be very near it, actually. A 27.810. Ace versus Kings beats his teammate. You don't see that very often in ESRL. The Mercedes that way round. So fair enough to Aces versus Kings. Very good lap from him. But Silverstone, again, it's one of those tracks where everyone seems to be good at this track. People who are usually sort of mid-grid or lower grid, they are on the pace at this track. In most leagues that in fact all leagues I've been in, this track is sort of a great equalizer. So certainly it will be interesting to see, although I do think Ayrton will still wipe the floor with everyone, but we'll see. About sprint quality in normal tiers or just sprint? Oh, in APPF1, I have not thought about it, no. Maybe I should. Show my race pace I showed in Monza, I shall start last. Well, at least try to qualify, mate. Scott goes into P5 for now with a 29.3. Who else is on a lap? Ted is on a lap in the McLaren. Womax is on a lap in the Williams. He's been pretty good lately in all the leagues that I've seen him in. And it looks like he's gone purple in Sector 1. So Womax 1 certainly on the pace here. Could take provisional pole off the medium runners if he hooks up the rest of the lap. The Bulgarian, as I say, he's been improving quite a lot lately. He's been very much more on the pace the last few weeks. So it's good to see him up near the front. Here he comes now. He's going to open the DRS, purple sector 2. I'm not sure if that's true or not, because obviously the game has a little bug where it's shows purple through sector 2 when it's not actually purple, so I wouldn't trust it, but at the same time I wouldn't be surprised if he was actually purple through sector 2. Around the final corner comes the Williams, and the Bulgarian does take provisional pole, but only by 0.02 of a second from Aces versus Kings. So fine margins there for Womax, and I think that time will definitely be beaten by the end of the session. Is Scott on another lap? He is not. Oops, there go all of my remote controls. Nath Clark is on a lap though in the Alpine. Here he comes through Max and Beckett's now. And the final corner, a little bit on the grass, but you need to be to get the best line through that last corner, at least in my experience. Now up to Stowe he comes. Into the final sector, and now down to the final chicane. Looks like he's hooked it up pretty well on those medium tyres, Nath Clark. So is this going to be provisional pole for the Alpine? It looks like it. It is a 27.6 on the medium tyres. And like I said, the mediums and softs, not much difference between them at this track, certainly in terms of pace, but also in terms of wear, to be honest. So it shouldn't matter too much which tyre you start on, although I'd say the softs are a better tyre to start on, because the soft advantage you would get at the end from starting on the mediums isn't as good as it is on other tracks. Ted has slotted into P8 just behind his teammate Scott with a 29.5 for now. Is anyone else on a lap? It doesn't look like it, so we will ride on board with... who can we ride on board with? Vans Racing, the Irishman in the Alfa Romeo. With a nice green helmet today. Another driver who does really like Silverstone. Again, Vans Racing, he's usually sort of, at least in ESRL, he's lower down the grid usually. But at Silverstone, again, it just seems to be a weird track where everyone is good. Because Vans Racing, I've seen him at Silverstone, he is on the pace around here, as long as he doesn't bin it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him challenging for a top, at least a top 6 or 7 position today in that Alfa Romeo. So here he comes, opens the DRS out of Sector 1, and into Sector 2 he comes. Is it going to be purple Sector 1? It is a purple Sector 1, what did I say? Here comes Vans Racing now, a little bit wide though on the entry to that left-hander, and now on the exit. That was pretty good though. Very, very nicely done from Vans Racing. Now up to Copse. Is he going to go full throttle? No, he does lift off a little bit. So doesn't quite have the confidence to go full throttle through there, or maybe it's the setup. Who knows? Here he comes. Avi has joined, so that's good to see both Red Bulls are going to make it into the race. Here comes Vans now into the final sector, and now Stowe very hugging the inside, very good from the Alfa Romeo, and now into the final couple of corners. Brake at the 100 board, avoid that red curb and that one, and that was pretty conservative actually. He would have lost a few tenths there, and indeed he goes P7 for now. So the first sector showed a lot of promise, but not so much in the latter part of the track, but only 200ths off of the time of Tier in the Haas. Avi is now in the session in his Red Bull, so that is good to see. Ayrton is also on a lap as Aces versus Kings goes into P2 on the mediums, so he has improved. He's only a tenth off Nath Clark, so not much to choose between them, but at the moment the top two in the qualifying standings, both on mediums. But here comes Ayrton. We've got to ride on board with the championship leader. He has won 6 races out of 6 so far this ESRL season. Is he going to make it 7 out of 7? But Speed Alcoholic does a 26.6, blows all those medium tyre runners out of the water. Amir immediately also goes into P2, a 27.4, but still 8 tenths off Speed Alcoholic, who loves this track, I know full well. As NER Ayrton comes through Copse, I think that was full throttle, so a lot of confidence in the car for Ayrton today, as usual. As he comes through Beckett's, that looked very clean and tidy there. I think we might see a new provisional pole sitter. Here he comes down the straight, DRS open all the way down, and now coming into Stowe, you've got to hug the inside, and he does so very well, and then very nice on the exit as well. Into the final chicane comes the AlphaTauri. Can he make it? Another pole position. The Dane comes across the line. It's going to be way clear of Speed. It's actually not as far clear as I thought. The line was a bit further away, but it's still provisional pole for the AlphaTauri, a 26.4 on those soft tyres. But it could be a competitive qualifying. He's only a tenth and a bit ahead of Speed. So hopefully he's not just blowing the entire grid out of the water today, as he has done at pretty much every race so far this season. Rick goes into P7. I think he'll be reasonably happy with that. 28.5 for the Dutchman. Avi and also, of course, Eat Apple hasn't set a lap, but Avi as well. Hoots to Much is up on his previous lap. It's around 5/10, so this could get him up a couple of positions here. He could beat both the McLarens, and he does. Into P11 goes the AlphaTauri. So decent stuff from Hoots to Much. Is Avi84 going to get out on the track? I hope so. I hope he can get a lap in, and he's not just going to start from the back, because that would be disappointing for him. Ayrton is not on another lap. Everyone's coming into the pit, so it's going to be one last hurrah for everyone as we come into the closing stages of this session. 4 minutes to go, and in qualifying for the British Grand Prix in ESRL Season 2. Anyone in chat, what are your predictions for the podium today at this point? Qualifying's not over yet, but what do you reckon's going to happen for the podium? It looks like pretty close times all round, and indeed those drivers who went on to the mediums earlier, it looks like they're going to do their final laps on the softs. So either they were listening to me or they always plan to do that. But I'm not going to take credit. Life Pelt says Rick will bin it. That's not very nice. Is that Avi84 going out on track? I think it might be. I think it might be. Very long pit lane in Silverstone, of course. I think that's the longest and slowest pit lane on the calendar. Here we go. Avi84 is going out on the track now, so we will get at least one lap in before the end, and I think it will just be... No, it should be 2 laps. He should be able to get out. Rick says I'm winning. Well, we'll see. Amir is out on track, the reigning champion of ESRL, but a long way back in the points at the moment, thanks to Ayrton just being in a different league, I think is the only way to say it. If we look at the driver standings, we've got NER Ayrton on 152, and Amir, he is P2 in the championship, the reigning ESRL champion, but he's all the way back on 98 points. So a long way to go to catch Ayrton, and he would need... Well, there's no sugarcoating it. He would need a miracle to be able to challenge for the championship this season and defend his title, but I think he will still be happy with where he is at the moment. If we look at the constructors' standings, meanwhile, Red Bull are winning the fight on 221 points. Alpine on 194, just behind. That is Nath Clark and Rick today. I think they're both reserves, so neither Alpine able to make it today, unfortunately. AlphaTauri in P3 on 181, meanwhile. As Amir comes across the line now to start his next lap of the session. All right on board with the reigning champion for his entire lap. Why not? So here he comes through turn 1, full throttle, all the way through turns 1 and 2. Now brake at about the 75 mark for turn 3, maybe a little bit later than that as well. And now turn 4, you just got to get it right. It's difficult to get perfect, but it looks like Amir did that pretty well. He's navigated the first sector very nicely. Full DRS all the way down to this tricky left-hander now, which you've got to get perfectly right. You've got to really ride that curb on the left, and Amir has done so very well. He takes the U-shaped line through that right-hander. There's 2 different lines you can take there. You can either hug the inside or brake late and go all the way deep and then try and get a better exit. Both lines work equally well as long as you get them perfectly. So it's really up to you. Here he comes through Max and Beckett's, the famous right, left, and right, and left again. But that was navigated pretty well by the Red Bull. And here he comes now up to Stowe, another difficult corner. You've got to brake just after the 50 board, hug the inside, and then be wide on the exit, and he isn't, so he would have lost a bit of time there, Amir. as he breaks just after the 100 board. It just clips that red curb on the inside and on the inside of the next corner as well. That would have lost him some time. Where's he going to be? 27.2. He does improve, but he doesn't improve his position. Who else is on a lap? Ayrton is on a lap, but we've got to watch Avi. Oh, who's invalidated, so he's going to be starting from the back of the grid. Here's the other Red Bull. That's very unfortunate. But that's unfortunately what can happen if you join the session too late. Van's racing, we've got to keep an eye on, but he's invalidated as well, so he's not going to improve. Tia, is he going to improve? I wonder. Ace versus Kings is invalidated. We've got to watch Speed, though. He's not improved through Sector 2. So what can he do? He's into Stowe now. That was pretty wide. He was trying to get too much, I think, on the exit there. Comes into the final chicane. Can Speed Alcoholic challenge Ayrton for pole position today? It's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to make it. No, he's not. A 26.8 in the end, so not able to improve on his own lap. Meanwhile, Ayrton is up on his previous lap, and it is pole position for NER Ayrton once again, a 26.3. He beats Speed by 0.3 in the end. But I think the race pace might be a little bit closer. Hopefully, we shall see. Nath Clark into the pits. He couldn't improve either. And Amir is not on another lap, so I think that will be it. But Ted improves to P11. Good stuff from the McLaren. As he beats out Hoots to Much. And he gets the strategic pole position, actually, P11. So he'll have free tyre choice for the race. And he's not too far behind Moti Peretz, so we might have a McLaren in the top 10 today. Fingers crossed. That is your grid for today's race. Avi 84 all the way at the back, even behind Eat Apple, because Avi couldn't set a lap and joined later in the session. So it is the championship leader once again on pole position. Can he convert it to a race win? It would be his 7th race win in 7 races. He is untouchable, the Dane, at the moment. And I think that may well continue, but he still has the default helmet, which is certainly something. Get yourself a helmet, Ayrton. Get yourself a nice, cool designed helmet. You don't deserve the default. You're too fast for a default helmet. But anyway, it is the Dane on pole position in the AlphaTauri, the championship leader. Looks to make it 7 from 7. Speed Alcoholic will look to challenge him, though, in P2, and Amir a long way back, P3. Nath Clark and Aces, P4 and 5 on the mediums, though. Womax P6, good showing from him, and Tier in P7. Rick P8, Vans Racing P9. Moti Peretz finishes out the top 10, and then Ted, Hoots to Much, and Scott make up the last of the drivers who set laps, and then 14 and 15 unable to set times. That is Eat Apple and Avi 84. So as we prepare for the race to begin, let me know your predictions in chat once again for the podium today. Will anyone spring a surprise? Will we have a classic race at Silverstone, or will it be a procession for Ayrton to win yet another race? We shall see. No jinxing, says Lifeboat. I'm trying not to. So Ayrton leads us off for the formation lap. By how much is Ayrton leading? The championship, he is leading the championship by a mere 54 points. We're halfway through the season, so yeah, it would have to be a miracle for him to not win this championship. That's what happens if you win 6 races out of 6. Just untouchable. Got a lot of luck in Baku, to be fair to him. He really shouldn't have had a chance at winning in Baku, but a very, very, very well-timed safety car got him back in the hunt, and he managed to win with a drag race to the line with a couple of other cars in the end, but he did get the win. But everywhere else he has just been completely untouchable. Monza, it was pretty close as well, but he really pulled away towards the end of the race. So he's in a league of his own, is the only way to describe it. As we've got a car going off onto the grass. I think that was Nath Clark, it was. Onto the grass he goes, and into the wall on the formation lap, and he is going to be absolutely mortified that I caught that on camera. Let's enable all of this. Let's look at the tyres. So we've got Ted, Scott, Eat Apple and Avi all starting on mediums, but Hootstamuch has elected to start on the softs. And as I say, I don't think it really is going to matter too much what tyre you start on, unless there's a very well-timed safety car, because the tyres are quite similar on this track. But anyway, no helmet too. Oh yeah, he hasn't got a helmet. That's brilliant. I think that might be an FIA safety violation. But anyways, we're about to get underway for the British Grand Prix. Guess what I saw on my wild formation lap? Womack's going to AI by any chance? Here we go. We've got a little bit of a bug with the standings. Something to do with Womack's. It's sorted itself out. We've got 3, 4, 5 red lights. And we're off for the British Grand Prix. Ayrton gets a brilliant start, but Speed gets a good one too, and he's alongside the Mercedes. Down the inside he goes into turn 1, but Ayrton much more confident on the throttle on the outside, and Nath Clark goes down the inside of Speed into turn 3. Meanwhile, there's a lot of overtakes going on back behind. Speed manages to fend off the Alpine for now, but Nath Clark is going to have the run up towards the next corner. Here we go. He's using the ERS down the inside. He's going to go. Speed Alcoholic has got to defend this, but Nath Clark down the inside. He's going to make the move, and Nath Clark into P2 on the medium tyres, but Speed's going to have the inside, and he takes it back. So a good battle developing between these two. Nath Clark still right behind the Mercedes. Is it going to be side by side into Copse corner? It is! Nath Clark down the inside. Luckily there's no contact. Oh, he just about backed out of it soon enough, I think. But Nath Clark desperately trying to get past Speed, who's already lost a second to NER Ayrton. Nath Clark fancies himself the win today. He's on the medium tyres and he's keeping up very much. Here he goes. The Alpine is going to have the ERS. Is he going to go down the inside of Stowe? He is! I don't think he expected to go down the inside, but he has. Speed Alcoholic a little bit wide on entry. But no overtake being made, luckily, for the Mercedes. But look at how much time he's lost to Ayrton already. 1.2 seconds. And he's going to have to really push to get back on terms with the AlphaTauri, because all that pressure from Nath Clark has really cost him a lot of time, and Ayrton's going to be feeling pretty comfortable. Meanwhile, Rick on the back of Aces, he's got some good pace today in that Alpine. I wonder if he can challenge for a podium. We'll have to see. Round to the next straight. Speed Alcoholic is catching Ayrton. We've got yellow flags. Is that Scott? It is Scott, who's struggling on his new wheels still. And down he goes to the back of the grid, as Avi is still not able to make any progress at the moment, other than of course the stricken car of Scott. Ayrton on 75% ERS, Speed Alcoholic on 50%, but it's 1.1, 1.2, it's hovering around that area, the gap. I don't think Speed is going to have the DRS. He's pushing a little too hard. You can see getting on the curb there into Maggots, and he's lost even more time to the AlphaTauri. He's trying his best to stay with the championship leader, but I think it's futile. Here comes Wumax on Rick, by the way. Round the outside. It's going to be side by side into Stowe. Who's going to have the better line? It might be Wumax, but Rick goes very deep. And here comes Wumax again. He's going to have another run down the inside, but Rick defends. So Wumax forced to go round the outside. And it's going to be a switchback move, a double switchback maybe from the Bulgarian. But no, Rick holds firm. And Wumax has to settle for P7 as Tia gets past Vans for P8, further behind. As we've already got some good racing here in Silverstone, and we're only on lap 3 now. But speed already now 1.5, 1.6 behind Ayrton, so Ayrton has pushed the speed button, as it were, and he is well ahead now already of the Mercedes. 20% ERS difference between them. It's not much, so it's not ERS, it's just pure pace from the AlphaTauri, and speed not able to keep up at the moment as Moti Perez gets the first 3-second time penalty of the race. We've got yellow flags in Sector 2 again. Who's that? Has anyone had a spin? It doesn't look like it. But here comes Rick on Aces again. As Aces has to concede through Cops. Rick down the inside. Very brave stuff from the Alpine. Into P5 he goes. We've got a good view of it from Wumax's cockpit. Here he comes. Ace is going to get the much better exit out of Beckett's, and he's going to have the DRS as well, but Wumax is looking to challenge as well. We could have 3 wide into Stowe. I think we are going to have 3 wide into Stowe. Oh, Wumax backs out. Rick tries to keep the position from Aces, but it's futile. Rick gets the better run, and into P5 again he goes. Is Wumax going to have a dive down the inside of Rick? Not quite, but he's got to keep an eye on what is developing here as Tia is down to P10. I'm sure that was probably the yellow flags earlier. That was probably what caused it. Moti Perez up into P9 for now as Avi makes up another position. He's gotten past the McLaren of Ted, but he's had a poor exit, and Ted is straight back past. I think it might have been an illegal overtake, and he's had to let Tia through as well. So Avi not really making any progress at the moment. And he's staying at the back of the grid, so not the ideal start that he would have wanted. Here comes Tia now on Moti Perez around the outside. Is Moti going to fight him? Yes, he is. Down the inside goes to Ferrari, but I think Tia's going to have the better run, and indeed the Haas is up into P9. But they're a long way back from Vans Racing, who's putting Rick under pressure. As I said, Vans is good at this track, but here comes Moti again, back at the Haas of Tia. And the Ferrari back into P9. Tia with nothing to say about it. But round through Cops, Tia gets the better exit. So will he have the run on the exit of Beckett's? We'll have to see. But meanwhile, Nath Clark has got the run on Speed Alcoholic. Down the inside he goes. Speed left him enough space. And the Alpine into P2. So Speed Alcoholic really struggling on those soft tyres. He's going to have another go, though, maybe into the next corner. But Nath Clark holds firm. And already Speed is struggling on race pace today. Down to P3 he goes, and they're 3 seconds back from Ayrton, who is cruising to yet another victory in ESRL. Looks like we might have a foregone conclusion there already, as Tia has lost it. Oh no, Tia out the last corner, he's lost it, and all the way to the back of the grid he goes as his teammate Ida Apple comes into the pit. So the Haas is not having the best time at the moment. Avi finally gets past Ted fairly, it seems. Up to P10 goes the Red Bull, and his progress up the field continues, albeit slower than I expected. We've still got Speed just behind Nath Clark, so we'll keep an eye on that. But also Rick has been overtaken by Vans Racing. He's going to get the better exit, though, up towards Cops. And this could be a side-by-side battle through Cops for these two. It is going to be Rick all the way around the outside. I don't think Vans is going to fight him. No, he backs out of it. So Vans wanting the DRS out of Beckett's as Rick goes deep out of Cops. So who is Vans going to be able to get the exit he needs to make the pass? He's very deep through the last corner of Beckett's, but not as deep as Rick, who goes all the way over the grass and somehow doesn't get a penalty. I have no idea how he's managed that. That's some kind of Dutch voodoo magic there on the stewards, as Avi84 gets straight past Moti Perez. Very simple indeed. Ayrton sets the fastest lap to the surprise of no one. Nice line from Rick, yeah. But he's made it stick. Van's not able to keep up for now. They've about equal ERS, so hopefully they can still stay within battling range of each other. Womack's meanwhile trying to get his way past Aces, who is struggling on those mediums. He's 6 seconds down. I don't know if Aces made a mistake or something, but that's a long way. Long way behind for the Mercedes. Maybe the race pace just isn't there for Aces today. And he's now under pressure from the soft tyres of Womack's in the Williams. And Amir as well is putting speed under pressure further up, but Nath Clark has got himself a 3-second time penalty for track limits. 4.3 seconds. I'm just going to ignore the gap to Ayrton. It doesn't really matter by this point. It's just going to keep growing. As Nath Clark takes the Rick line through the last corner of Beckett. Speed isn't going to be too happy about that, but he's still going to have the run into Stowe. Down the inside he goes. Nath Clark is going to hold it all the way around the outside though. Here he comes, the Alpine. He's going to have the inside line for the next chicane, and he does send it on the Mercedes. There's contact and Nath Clark is round after the send into the corner, which I don't know if it was really there. It's tough to say, but Nath Clark, he's back on the track. Speed Alcoholic keeps P2, but it was a little bit of a little bit dodgy there, a little bit of contact where there didn't really need to be, as Rick gets his way back past Vans, and there's contact with oh no, Rick and Vans both out of the race. Avi 84 tried to find the middle, but there was no space. The space just closed on the Red Bull, and it's taken Vans and Rick both out of the race. We've got a safety car here in Silverstone. I think that's going to go certainly to the stewards, and I will see Rick in chat very shortly. It looked like Rick and Vans were having a battle, and then Avi tried to stick his nose in the middle, to the surprise of both of them. And all three of them ended up being taken out, and ironically Avi is the only one who's gotten away with it. So, oh, you hate to see it. Vans was doing so well. Rick was having a great race as well at a track he really doesn't like. But, oh, you always hate to see Vans DNF, especially when it's not his fault. He didn't even lose it. Just nothing to do with him. That's so unfortunate. We do have a safety car now. Ayrton and Speed both into the pits. It's great news for the guys who started on softs. Perfect timing of a safety car. Is Nath Clark going to take the lead though? He is. So Nath Clark is going to have those 7-lap-old mediums, but he's going to be leading this race. And Aces versus Kings is going to follow him in P2. And Ayrton is going to come out only in P3. It might even be P4. Amir has come into the pits, but Avi, is he going to get Ayrton at the exit of the pits? He is indeed, as is Moti Peretz. So Ayrton down to P5. For some reason, Moti Peretz has not pitted. That is a horrible mistake from the Israeli in the Ferrari. He is going to end up regretting that for sure. There was a third car, yeah. Avi went in the middle of both of you, yeah. And ironically, Avi was the only one who got away with it unscathed. So, yeah. I mean, I only caught the sort of tail end, and it was on dynamic cam, so I couldn't really see it properly. But yeah, it did look a bit unnecessary, is what I'll say. But as I say, Nath Clark is winning this race at the moment with Ace versus Kings in P2, and Avi all the way up to P3, and he is also running without a helmet, which I think is going to violate some kind of regulation. But he doesn't care. Yeah. Oh, Nath Clark getting side by side with the safety car there. You don't want to touch the safety car, Nath, because that will be an instant DSQ. As he nearly touches the safety car again, I'm not sure what he's doing in that Alpine. He really wants the safety car to hurry up, it seems. But Bernd Maylander is unmoved. Motopedets does come into the pits, but one lap too late, and he's going to drop right to the back of the grid, unfortunately for him. I'm going to stay on board with Nath Clark because I feel like he is going to hit the safety car. Very impatient is the Alpine driver, clearly. Again, he goes side by side with Bernd Maylander, who's probably not going to appreciate it very much. So Ayrton down in P4, he's going to have to clear these three drivers, which is going to be more difficult than it may seem, even for a driver as fast as Ayrton. He might find it a bit tricky to get past all of these three drivers, at least with any pace. And Speed Alcoholic just behind as well is going to try and put his rival under pressure. As well as Amir, we can't forget about him. Oh my God, Nath Clark nearly hits the safety car. At this point, like, when does it become DRS train annoying on this track? Absolutely, absolutely, very, very difficult to make any progress if you're in a train on this track. Yeah. At some point, it goes from being entertaining to being just needless, I think. I'm sure he's just trying to put on a show for the commentary stream, but or maybe just for himself. But at the same time, if he DSQs himself, it's just quite embarrassing. If it wasn't already. And we are going to stop riding on board with him if he's going to continue to rev his engine like that, because that's very difficult to listen to. And he nearly takes out Aces there with a little bit of a break. Sorry, Nath, I'm not trying to point a finger at you here, but it's a little bit dodgy. Oh, Vans in the chat. I'm gutted for you, man. I'm gutted for you. I just about caught the crash on the stream. And yeah, just... that was the same word I used. It was unnecessary. And it's such a shame because both of you are racing so well. And Vans, you love this track. I know very well you're very good at this track. So it was such a shame to see you DNF because I think you really could have been in with a shout of at least sort of top 6 maybe today. So yeah, genuinely gutted for you, man. Yeah, no problem. It was an entertaining watch. You and Rick were having a good battle. Very aggressive warming up tyres from Nath. Yeah, indeed. The safety car is in this lap, so it's up to Nath Clark to decide when to punch it, when to press down the accelerator. Yeah, you guys were having a really good one. It's definitely a massive shame and very unnecessary. But anyway, here comes Nath Clark. When is he going to punch it? Is it going to be out of the final corner? Or is it going to be earlier or later? Here comes the Alpine. He's gone. He has gone out of the final corner, just as I said. He hasn't caught out Aces, but it's just enough for him to hold position. Here comes Ayrton, though, on Avi. He does back out for now, but he's going to have the much better run, the AlphaTauri. And he's going to have a go round the outside into turn 4. Speed Alcoholic is trying to follow on behind as well. Here comes the AlphaTauri down the inside. What a move from the Dane. And he makes the position into P3. Speed Alcoholic trying to follow him through, but Avi with the superior pace on the exit of the corner. And Ayrton into P3 already, but is Avi going to follow him through? This helicopter shot is fantastic, by the way. I wish it was the same shot all the time, but Ayrton has made the place, and it looks like Speed is now going to follow him past Avi. In towards Copse they go, but Speed is not going to make the move yet. He's going to wait for a better time. I mean, I think he needs to get past this Red Bull as soon as possible if he wants any chance at all to challenge Ayrton today. Hoots Too Much has got a penalty, and he's gone out of Copse. He's into the wall. He hasn't DNF'd, so there won't be a safety car, but he is right to the back now, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri. Here comes Speed Alcoholic round the outside of Avi 84 into Stowe corner. It looks like he's going to make the move, or is he? Avi gets the better run, but Speed dives down the inside into the chicane. There's going to be room left by the Red Bull. Here comes Speed all the way around the outside for the final corner. Lovely stuff from the South African in the Mercedes, and into P4 he goes, and now he'll try to catch back up to Ayrton, but it's going to be tough already. He's lost 1.9 seconds to the championship leader, who is already trying to get his way past his teammate Aces, who I'm sure is going to make the job as difficult as possible. Yellow flags through sector 1. That's Scott again at the same corner, it looks like, so that's very unfortunate for the league owner. But he's going to be in another lonely race, unfortunately, after the safety car brought him back with the pack. Speed a little bit wide on the exit there on the run up to Copse, but he looks okay. The two Red Bulls running 5 and 6. We've got a 3-second time penalty for Ted, unfortunately, further back, who is running in P8, by the way. He's doing very well, the McLaren. But yeah, those time penalties going to cost him by the end. I think that's his second one, if I remember rightly. Womax in P7 is going to have to fend off the McLaren, which I don't think he would have expected to have to do. But Ted, of course, on the fresh softs, which are going to be much better than the mediums at this point, but not for very long. They're going to sort of even out very, very soon on this track. Two Red Bulls still chasing after Speed, who is trying to chase Ayrton, but to no avail. He's already lost time, despite Ayrton being stuck behind his teammate Aces. Speed not able to make any headway on the championship leader. Meanwhile, Nath Clark, 1.4 seconds. He is really pushed to take the lead by the scruff of the neck. And he has done very well, but Ayrton is going to have the DRS. Aces looks to defend to the inside, but eventually lets Ayrton down the inside. And not much to fight there for the Mercedes, who is on 8 laps older medium tyres. He's going to try and stay with the AlphaTauri for as long as he can, but I think it's going to be a futile endeavour. And Ayrton comfortably into P2 and off towards Nath Clark he goes. With Speed Alcoholic looking for a solid podium today, but he's going to be under pressure from the two Red Bulls, I think, because his race pace has not been on par with his qualifying pace at all, the Mercedes. And Avi is showing that with 12 lap old mediums. He's staying well with the Mercedes, and he's going to have a go, in fact, in towards Stowe. Look at that closing speed from the Red Bull. Down the inside he goes, but Speed is going to hold all the way around the outside, and a simple defense from the Mercedes. We've got another spinner. Looks like Moti Peretz has spun. Or no. Oh my god, what is happening? It's Ted. Ted is round. And Womack's also round. I don't know if there was contact between the two. They were close together. It would be really unfortunate if there was. It looks like Womack's has damage. I would be surprised if Ted didn't as well. So that's Scott up into P10. But disaster for Womack's and Ted. And we'll drop to the back now. Meanwhile, ERAPL with the switcheroo on Moti Peretz. Great move. And it's going to be a double switchback from the Haas. Down the inside of the Ferrari he goes, but Moti Peretz gets a better exit than he expected. And ERAPL is going to have to work a bit harder than that. Because Moti Peretz still has the DRS off his teammate Tier in front as well, who's running on the hard tyres. He wants to go to the end, but I think the mediums will go to the end as well. So I'm not sure that's the best decision from Tier. But... I mean, if you haven't had practice, then it's often difficult, really, to make the best strategy calls. So yeah, I won't be too hard on him. Yeah, Ayrton already within a second of Nath Clark. Ace versus Kings is sticking with the AlphaTauri though. It's not much difference between them as Avi makes a simple move on Speed. So Speed really struggling on those medium tyres at the moment. His race pace is not on par at all with his qualifying pace. And he's really struggling to stay with these guys as Ayrton sets the fastest lap again to the surprise of no one. Ace versus Kings staying with him though, still within a second. And Nath Clark is doing his best to keep the championship leader behind, but this is the battle to watch. It's these three, it's the two Red Bulls and Speed Alcoholic. Can Speed make a move? He goes for the switcheroo, down the inside he goes, and he's going to have a much better exit. Look at this from Speed Alcoholic, brilliant stuff. Great racing from the South African, but Avi's going to be using his ERS. Speed is going to have the advantage down the inside. There's a bit of wheel banging, but I think Speed has made the move. Avi forced wide, and Speed back into P4 he goes, with Amir in close proximity. ERAPL and Tier swapping places. So ERAPL still after the Ferrari just in front, but he's up into P8 in that Haas now. And yeah, I think he'll be disappointed, ERAPL. He's crashed in qualifying and he hasn't been able to make much progress up the grid when he's usually sort of on top 5 pace. So difficult week for ERAPL so far. Hello, Zach. How are you doing? Oh my god, I bet that was difficult to commentate. But here comes Avi round the outside of Speed. He makes the move again. They have swapped positions once more, these two. And I'm sure Speed will still be in close tow as ERAPL also makes his way past Moti Peretz further back. And Ayrton still in close proximity to Nath Clark ahead. Aces versus Kings is staying with him too. But yeah, I bet that was difficult to consistently commentate, Zach. Ted gets himself another track limits penalty, but he's all the way at the back anyway. I don't think he's going to care too much, unfortunately. Unless there's another safety car. Speed Alcoholic not able to make the same move he made on the previous lap, but he's going to have DRS into Stowe on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's on this lap. And he'll be hoping that he can use that and then get a better lap in on lap 17 to try and make some ground on Avi, because at the moment he is just not on the pace, the Mercedes. There's another yellow flag. It looks like Moti Peretz, he is off the Ferrari. Doesn't look like there's any damage to the car, but down to P10 he goes, and behind the McLaren of Scott, who still is yet to pit off of those softs. Surely he's going to have to eventually. I don't think he can make it to the end. The mediums will, but the softs won't. Here comes Amir on Speed. Speed has not been able to make the ground on Avi, which is very surprising. Those eight laps older medium tyres for the Red Bull in front, but Speed is just not on the pace in terms of race pace. Is that Avi into the pits though? It is. So Avi has called it a day on those medium tyres. Unsurprisingly, he's been on them since the start of this race. And he's going to go to the softs until the end of this race. So this battle is reduced to between Speed and Amir, the reigning champion, versus the very, very fast South African in the Mercedes, but who doesn't look as much on the pace today, as he usually is, especially with the good qualifying he had. Clown's good positions reflecting the beginnings of the 22 season. Yeah, unfortunately that is true. Although Scott is doing okay at the moment. Womax has got himself a time penalty as well, but again, right at the back, I don't think he's going to matter too much. First name, car number, pronounced IE. It did the trick. If I get cancelled, it's been fun. Well, I think you did your best, by the sounds of it. Here comes Ayrton. He's going to have a go on Nath Clark, I think, into Stowe now. He's going to have the DRS and the ERS. Look at the advantage in battery. Nath Clark with only 10% left. Ayrton, he's still conserving. He's going to see that flashing red light now. He's going to know that the Alpine is vulnerable. And the championship leader's going to make a move for P1 very soon, I think, as Amir gets past Speed Alcoholic, who is still struggling for the pace. And I think he might well lose out to Amir here. He might well not be able to stick with him. Unlike Aces, who is sticking with the top two, but he is going to have to pit before the end, as is Nath Clark. So both of them at a disadvantage here, but Ayrton goes into the back of Nath Clark and spins the championship leader. It's the first mistake we've seen all season from the Dane in the AlphaTauri. Down to P5 he goes. He just clips the back of Nath Clark, and he's down to P5 now. So that's Amir now in the provisional race lead. Speed Alcoholic right behind him as well. He is able to stay with him, but Ayrton is going to be motivated to get back with them and win this race. There's still a long way to go, and he's going to be right with them again. 1.6, 1.7 already. That gap is falling fast as Motu Pedets looks like has gone for another spin further back. Has lost the position to Avi already. But Ayrton, wow, a very rare mistake from the AlphaTauri. Can he recover? I think he can. But it's whether he can get past, because as you've said already, Lifebout, the DRS trains are lethal around here. It's very difficult to make progress a lot of the time if you're in a train. And Amir might well fancy himself for the win here. It would be another win in Silverstone. Hoots Too Much has gone for a spin further back, by the way. But if you remember last season, Cast Our Minds Back, Amir... But what was essentially his championship winning drive, where he took the intermediates on this track all the way from lights to flag without pitting, and had a spin under a safety car while he was leading the race, and he still came back to win the race. He's going to be looking to repeat what was an incredible performance last season and make it 2 wins in Silverstone in 2 seasons. And it would be the first time Ayrton has not won a race this season. 6 wins out of 6 he's had. It could be ended, that streak of wins for the Dane. Amir still standing strong against Speed, and Ayrton is closing up, but it's not very fast. He only caught about 3/10 that lap. Although Speed does have the DRS, so I think once Ayrton is within range, this is going to get very, very interesting. Look how much time he gains through Magnussen Beckett. So much more confident on the throttle through there. Is Speed going to have a go? Is Aces versus Kane's going to have a go on Nath Clark for the race lead further ahead? No, he is not. But both these guys have to pit, remember, as Speed Alcoholic has to stay behind Amir for now. Ayrton still within 1.5 seconds, and I think within this lap or the next lap he's going to be in that DRS range, and we're going to have a titanic battle for the race win towards the end of this race. Ayrton sets the fastest lap at 29.2 on those mediums. That hard work was all in Dane, but I'm so glad we have Zach to bring the entertainment in chat when I can't. But here is Ayrton. He's already within that second range, nearly 1.1. It was hovering around the area, but he's not going to have the DRS, so he's still going to lose out. But I think through Magnussen Beckett's, he is going to make that time back up. And Ayrton is going to be within DRS range for the last 6 laps of this Grand Prix for what will be the race lead, because Nath Clark and Aces still have to pit They're going to lose a lot of time, but they're not going to be too far back, actually. I think Nathan Aces will come out P6 and 7 when they come out the pits. And they'll be on fresh softs. They might be able to make some progress yet. And Aces still trying to put the Alpine under pressure. Here he comes. And Ayrton is within DRS range, but here comes the Mercedes around the outside of Stowe. Nath Clark's going to push him all the way through the corner, and Aces has to take the wide line. Off the track he goes. And Ayrton now has joined this DRS train. Aces is into the pits. He's had enough. He's had enough of staying behind Nath Clark for too long. I think that's a good decision from the Mercedes. So he's going to have softs all the way to the end of the race, and he's going to be hoping to get himself a top 5 finish. But the pit lane is so long around this track. So it may be a struggle for him. Here we go. It is a 3-way battle for the race lead now. Popcorn from Lifebout. I couldn't agree more. Here comes Ayrton. He's already right on the back of Speed. He wants this race win. He wants to continue his streak as he takes a different line to Speed. There's nearly contact. It's just a different line. Both of them are equally valid. But Ayrton nearly tries to take the inside line. We do have this 3-way battle for the race lead. None of the 3 with penalties. Very, very impressive stuff. So it is a straight fight. And this is going to be fantastic towards the end of this race. Look at the difference in pace through Max and Beckett's for Ayrton. But he's not going to have it because of the DRS. The DRS train. But here comes Speed on Amir now. Down the inside he goes. The South African tries to take the race lead. There's contact between them. Speed somehow stays on the track, as does Amir. But Amir down to P4 now, which is essentially P3. Somehow they all stay on the track and they're all still within range of each other. But Amir is going to be fuming that he has lost out there. He's down to P3 now. He was in a huge contention for this race win, but he's going to struggle now at the back of this DRS train. And Ayrton is back in the driving seat for this race win. He doesn't have to deal with a train anymore. Speed is not going to have the DRS unless they catch up to Nath Clark, who still hasn't pitted. I don't know if he's aware that he has to pit before the end. But he hasn't done so yet. Ace vs Kings looks like he's getting past Scott further back as well. That gap is very small. And indeed, he does get past the McLaren, who I think let him by. Is not going to fight him too hard. I think it's going to happen the same for Avi as well. Down the inside he goes. And the Red Bull up to P8. But we'll go back to the front. Ayrton still looking for this race. For this race victory. He wants 7 wins from 7, but they are within range of Nath Clark. Look at this. Speed Alcoholic is going to have the DRS. Nath Clark must have made a mistake, I think, or maybe those tyres are just getting far too old. And Speed is going to have the DRS, and Ayrton's going to be furious. He's not going to be able to make the pass. And Speed, is he going to get past Nath Clark before the corner? No, he's not. So Nath Clark's still ahead. Is he going to peel into the pits now? No, he's not. The Alpine continues for another lap. And I question the motivations of Nath Clark here. A Speed Alcoholic is going to still have the DRS. I don't know if Nath Clark doesn't want Ayrton to win or something, but it certainly seems like it. But Ayrton doesn't care. He doesn't need the DRS. Down the inside he goes. Up to turn 4. There's a little bit of contact. Be it wheel banging. Speed Alcoholic doesn't let him do that. No, 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 says the Mercedes. But Ayrton is going to have the run nonetheless. Look at this. He's got the ERS. Doesn't matter that they've both got DRS. They're going to be side by side again. Up towards the next corner. Out of this DRS. Straight down the inside goes the AlphaTauri. They're side by side still. And Speed all the way around the outside makes the move. And he retains the race lead for now. This is incredible stuff. Speed Alcoholic still behind Nath Clark. So he's going to have the DRS again. And Amir trying to stay with them as well. Nath Clark gets himself another penalty, but it doesn't really matter in the context of this fight. As Speed gets on the curb though, and that's huge. Ayrton down the inside now through Beckett's, but he can't make the move. Speed just about manages to stay there. And there's still an ERS difference between them, but it's not enough for Ayrton. Speed just enough to keep the AlphaTauri behind. And he retains P2 for now. Meanwhile, Amir just watching and waiting for an opportunity. If something goes wrong, he is there to pounce. The reigning champion, he's got the experience to know when to go for it and when to just sit back and wait. And that is what he's doing right now. But Nath Clark again is still staying out here. 23 laps. I think he's helping Speed. That's the only explanation I can think of. He is helping Speed to win the race, but he's not going to help like that. There's contact. Ayrton nearly loses it again, and Amir stays with it. It would be great if I could talk, but Ayrton, there's more contact between these three, and Speed Alcoholic still behind Nath Clark, who is helping. Ayrton tries to go down the inside. I'm trying to find the words. It's so difficult to keep up. There's things happening at every single corner right now. It's still a battle for the race lead as Amir still has to just watch and wait. Surely he's going to be thinking, surely something is going to happen here and I'm going to just clean my way through and take this race win. But at the moment, everyone is staying on the track and this is a titanic battle. Ayrton wants this race win. Nath Clark trying to help Speed Alcoholic to stop that from happening. Here they come now, and Nath Clark is not going to stay ahead. Ayrton has to find the right line to not make contact, and there's three side by side. Nath Clark tries to keep Ayrton behind. He peels into the pits finally now that Speed has gone past him, but it's 2 laps to go, and Ayrton and Amir still behind Speed Alcoholic, but Amir has dropped back a little and he hasn't got the ERS to maintain this battle for the race lead. So I think it's going to be between these two, Speed Alcoholic and NER Ayrton. Can Ayrton make it 7 wins from 7, or is Speed going to end the streak? But there's a McLaren. Is that Ted? It's a lapped McLaren. Is that going to give Speed DRS? Not quite, so the McLaren gets out of the way. And luckily it does not interfere in this battle for the race lead, because that would be a shame. But Ayrton unable to make the move yet. Is he going to make the move into this corner again? No, he's not. He's going to wait for the DRS out of Beckett's and hope to take the race lead on the penultimate lap and then keep it for the final lap. But look at the ERS difference, 50% difference between them, and Amir as well, 50% behind Ayrton. So Ayrton in the driving seat yet again for a 7th win in a row. Gets the curb a little bit there, but stays on the track. Another time penalty for Ted. He is having a torrid time out there, but we've got to wait for this race lead battle. Here comes Ayrton. Look at the closing speed. Down the inside goes the AlphaTauri, and he takes the race lead on the penultimate lap. Very, very easily done for the AlphaTauri, the championship leader, and he's using the ERS to try and get out of range of Speed now, because Speed, if he stays within range, could still have an opportunity here on the final lap. Lap 26 of 26 at the British Grand Prix. Who is going to win this race? Ayrton, Speed Alcoholic. Can he spring a surprise on the final lap, or can Amir take advantage of a mistake from either of them and sneak through to win the race? 1.5 minutes, we will find out. Here comes Speed Alcoholic, but look at the time. He's already lost to the AlphaTauri, 7/10 down. He's going to have the DRS on this straight, but look at the ERS that Ayrton is using, and he's staying well ahead of the Mercedes. And I think through Magnussen Beckett's, he is going to stabilize his lead and win this race. But you never know. It's not over until the checkered flag. Amir is still looking for a way through as well. 9/10 is the gap. Speed Alcoholic just not able to keep up with the Dane. And it looks like it's going to be 7 wins from 7 for NER Ayrton. 9/10 still. It's over a second over the DRS activation point. He does get the DRS though with the Mercedes, but look how much time he loses through Magnussen Beckett's. Speed Alcoholic is going to come home for P2 thanks to that DRS gained from Ayrton just about. But wow, after a titanic effort and after a very, very rare mistake, it is still going to be NER Ayrton to make it 7 wins from 7. Ayrton wins the British Grand Prix. Speed Alcoholic P2. Ayrton sets the fastest lap on the last lap as well. Amir P3. he's going to be fuming after the contact with Speed Alcoholic. He really will be thinking he could have won this race if he had stayed in front of that three-way train. Eat Apple comes home a very respectable P4 from the back of the grid. Very nicely done from the Haas. Aces, again, a respectable P5 from him. Nath Clark steals the fastest lap away from Ayrton at the end. Avi, P6. Tier down in P7, but a good result for Tier, actually, on those hard tyres all the way. It looked like a poor call from him, but he's taken advantage of the mistakes of others and taken P7. Very nicely done from Tier. Nath Clark, P8. After he did all he could to try and help Speed win this race. Scott finishes P9. He does finish in the top 10 despite a couple of spins, so I think he'll be happy with that. Moti Peretz finishes out that top 10. Womack's P11, and then we just wait for Hoots to Much to finish this race. But wow, that was exciting towards the end. At the start of the race, it looked like it was going to be another absolute cruise control win for Ayrton, but he had to work for it after that mistake he made earlier on, just tagging the back of Nath Clark and then spinning it round. But he managed to come back. He managed to win the race yet again. Is he going to win every race this season? I wouldn't put it past him. Maybe he pulls a Rick at Zandvoort. Oh, you went there, Zach. You went there. Nath Clark was not trying to help Speed win. I just wanted the fastest lap at the end. Okay, fair enough. It did look like you were trying to help him win. I'm not going to lie. During the commentary stream, I was like, surely he is helping Speed to win the race. But no, fair enough, mate. And you did get the fastest lap, so fair enough to you. 28.0 just about steals it off Ayrton, but it is Ayrton who wins the race yet again. 7 in a row for the Dane. I mean, I'd be surprised if he didn't win a race at this point. Speed Alcoholic P2. Amir, a valiant P3, but he'll be disappointed to not take the race win today. My TV has just gone crazy. There we go. Eat Apple P4, and then Aces, Avi, Tier, and I don't have time to go through the rest of the standings, but unfortunately Vans Racing and Rick, the only two DNFs from this race after a very unnecessary incident that was neither of their faults, unfortunately. At least from the commentary stream, but I'm not going to, you know... not going to pass any judgments. I am not an ESRL steward. That is for them to decide. But thank you everyone for watching. Race 7 of ESRL Season 2 at Silverstone. It was a great race from beginning to end. Great to follow along. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Leave a like on the stream if you haven't already, and make sure to subscribe. But I will see you next week for Race 8. Thank you all, and goodbye. Thank you for the kind messages.